Welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I bring over 40 years experience in comic books and entertainment across 5 decades. I offer insights and opinions on the business and the art of comic books and pop culture. If it's happening in games, in movies, in streaming, or comic books, we're covering it right here on the Robservations Show. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I am so excited to share with you today that this is our 5-year anniversary. 5-year anniversary. Let the record show that it was May 26, 2020 that I went live with this show for the first time. We were a podcast only kind of show until just the last few weeks with you guys joining us. You've been saying from the very beginning, Rob, can you get to YouTube? Can you get to, and so many of you have flooded the replies, and I appreciate it so much. All I can say is thanks for being here for 5 years. And if you're just joining us on YouTube, welcome to our all new era. The incredible thing about this was, as I've mentioned, because this was born in the loneliness and the kind of, I call it the abject loneliness of the pandemic. People weren't connecting. They weren't, my friends were shut off from their other friends. Occasionally other parents would let other kids meet with other kids. As you know, all my kids were teenagers during that time. But even just the people that I talked to on the phone, we just had less and less to talk about because so much of the world was restricted from us. Beaches, parks, it was crazy. Wherever you were here in Southern California, it was a little crazy. And I had a knack, as they say, a hankering to do a podcast, and I didn't know how to do it. And one day my son, Chase Liefeld, 17 years old at the time, said, Dad, he is the most technically proficient of everybody in our family. And he said, Dad, I can do this for you. I can help you. He ordered up a microphone, the Blue Yeti. He said, Dad, I'll go pick it up in line at Best Buy where he downloaded the programs. He got me set up and we were off to the races and we were talking comic books, and we have been talking comic books and all things comic books and pop culture for the last 5 years to this day. So I am really psyched, really excited. Once again, looking back, listening to old episodes and realizing that it was just, I really did feel like there were stories that should be told. I have been fortunate in my career. If you don't know, I guess a couple minutes in, if you don't know who I am, and this is your first show, I have been loving and passionately consuming comic books since I was 7 years old, 7 years old. And that puts it at 51, 52 years. And now I get to look back on that time with great favor, with keen memories, just very clear, and talk about those times, as well as I broke in when I was 18 years old. I broke into comic books, my dream job, my dream vocation, to take my love of comic books and become a creator of comic books, a writer and illustrator of comic books. That happened to me, fortunately, when I was 18 years old, hired by both Marvel and DC simultaneously, along with some independent comics, and was able to break through and have this incredible career that took me to places that, quite frankly, I just didn't anticipate comic books taking me. But I think being a student of comics and having the passion that I did and having the talent to illustrate and write and make stories, it all kind of came together in this perfect stew that is my career, the Rob Liefeld career. Along the way, I have been witness to so many important kind of milestones in the comics industry. None are more important than the creation with my fellow Image founders, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Eric Larson, Mark Silvestri, Jim Valentino, Will Portacio. We founded Image Comics, to this day the third largest comic book company, with the best creator-owned option. It is still the best option for you as a creator to seek out and get your work through Image Comics. I love it. I adore it. It wasn't about making a company. It was about making kind of a combine, a label that we were able to share, and we kind of increased the volume, increased the reach of comic books. As one person in the distribution chain told me, Rob, it was like the balloon couldn't take any more oxygen, and then as balloons sometimes do, like a side, let's call it a side balloon pimple, balloon wart, uh, what went came upon the surface of that balloon. If you've ever seen it, it happens. I love that Image Comics was referred to as a wart or a side pimple. But fortunately, it never popped, and it's been around ever since. But that label offered us the ability to make our own creations, like the Youngblood comics behind me, in my extreme universe of characters and stuff that I would now truly own 100%, as opposed to all the cool. Look at this guy. It's been a year and I still haven't taken him out of his. This is a Deadpool straw topper. Okay, stuff that's just hanging around my desk. Maybe you're in need of a Deadpool. This was at the car wash. I had to have it. An air freshener. Okay, it was now the ability to control and just own our own stuff. And I think that was probably the biggest, most significant, aspect that I was able to, part of the comics industry that I was able to witness. I'm not going to look down my nose at 5 million copies of X-Force, #2 best-selling comic book of all time. And I've given you so many of the behind the scenes. When myself and my peer group, we broke into Marvel Comics, it was during a time of an influx of all new talent. There's an episode, I'm not sure that I'll ever be able to replicate it here on YouTube, over on the podcast side of things, whether it's Spotify, whether it's, Apple, Podbean, all the different places that carry the podcast. I did an episode called The L Boys, and it is a real-time encounter with Todd McFarlane, who had been in the business for a few years. And I can only imagine from his point of view, he was kind of the new guy, and he was struggling to break out. Not struggling. He was working hard to break out, and he was breaking out. And suddenly, Eric Larson, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Ron Lim, he called us the L Boys. The L Boys. Okay? But I'm at Lim, Liefeld, Larson. Now I got to meet Lee. Okay. That happened in real time. San Diego, I walked you through that entire scenario. Really fun times. Really great times that I've been able to share with you, because we were coming in like the new class, like the new draft class. And you'll find, yes, I do equate so much of sports with the competitiveness of comics, and they are the same, just like the competitiveness of movies, okay? You have not lived until you are hanging out in Tom Cruise's giant office, the Lucille Ball building at Paramount, at his gigantic, massive, incredible marble meeting table, and he and his producing partner, Paula Wagner, and the subject matter kind of veers off because they've got the firm locked. I visited Tom on the set of the firm. He flew me there. I had meetings with him about the project that we were developing because the screenwriter was about to start writing it. So I was, I had been, visited Tom several times when he was shooting the firm. And so now in the spring, with it locked, and the firm is set to come out in the summer of 1993, I believe. And it's like, well, where are we going to place? And suddenly you're caught up in the competition. Everyone's competitive. He and his, well, I think we're going to outperform Last Action Hero. They did. I think Jurassic Park is going to rule the summer. It did. But where's and it was like, they would take different movies, they would evaluate them. People, we are all in this competitive realm where we are all trying to see where we're going to place, where our efforts are going to be received, how they're going to be received. All of that over a 40-year career, hired in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. Here we are. I'm making comics. I'm still making comics. I love making comics. Comics is my lifeblood, is my passion. And thank you for being on board with me for 5 years as we cover it. Now, a couple of funny things. I've told you my passion was to record the history of comics, talk to you guys about the history of comics, get some of that stuff out there. I grabbed these for this anniversary. I grabbed these. So I have read to you from such notable publications as this. This is my vintage, well, drop that one, vintage copy of the Comics Journal, this epic Frank Miller interview, okay? I believe this is 1980, 1981. but it is super duper vintage. If you can get one, you want to talk about hard to get? These are as hard if not harder to obtain than some of the quote unquote hot comics of the past. Some of the keys I have shared with you from Comic Scene. Okay, this is my copy of Comic Scene. Okay, rat tat 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 as it may be. Okay, uh, information in here. Oh, and the Whopper, my favorite interview of all time. No one gave a better interview than John Byrne gives in this. Is this 1980? 1980 super special, baby. Okay, so I think that Frank Miller one is probably 81, 82, but John Byrne gives the burn it all down interview of all time where he goes off on Jim Starlin, Marv Wolfman, George Perez, Bob Layton. That's just off the top of my head. He is at the top of his powers. X-Men is the hottest book. He's doing Captain America simultaneously. This is right before he takes over the Fantastic Four and leaves X-Men. I have shared with you from Marvel Vision, the beginning of Heroes Reborn, okay? We have read excerpts. I read line by line. Here's a great interview I shared with you with Big Toddy, Amazing Heroes. Here's another Amazing Heroes. And just, man, what a great and fun and interesting period. And then, I mean, look at this rat-a-tat. Entertainment Retailing, a magazine that was published by the Wizard, okay, half the face, woo, okay, me, Badrock, the boys, okay. I have tried to share with you the interviews. These are recorded statements, points of view. That they reflect a time. That they reflect a period of comics. They reflect a kind of a perspective of what was going on during that time. This Overstreet, I've read from you. I have so many of these Overstreet magazines. I just grabbed this one, and I did not know until right now. Look what's on the back. This was when X-Force was coming. X-Force was coming. Don't miss it, okay? Look, these are staples. This is from 1991, okay? I have tried to give you guys history, not my wishful thinking, because we have a lot of wishful thinkers out there. People who want to make something into something else. People who want to make something that was not into something that was. And this show has always been on the side of history. I brought you facts, FACTSs. I brought you facts, FAXs. I'm going to start showing those. I'll hold those up. Whether it was in regards to Marvel, their bankruptcy, Heroes Reborn, Image Comics, partnership details. I have tried to walk you through. There have been sales figures that I've stumbled on from the 1970s, from the 80s. We've shared them all across these 5 years. I just want to say thank you again. My love of comics grows deeper each and every day. The memories that I have, comics have always been there for me. They have always been there for me, no matter what was going on in my life, especially my formative years. You know, maybe that situation with your friends wasn't going bad, but that comic book was there for you. Maybe somebody in your family wasn't having the best of health, but that comic book was there for you. That's how it's been for me. And so I have been just so happy to share this with all of you. And I just wanted you to see the physical magazines. If you can obtain them, obtain them. They are really hard. Now, here's a rando. So rando. I was in my storage unit looking for comic books for an upcoming live stream on Whatnot. I do those a lot. I'm on Whatnot. It's a great app. You should get it. You should download it. I was going to pump it at the end of the show, but I'll just kind of pre-pump it now. The best live streaming app that you will ever encounter. I'm on it. Rob Liefeld. Follow me. You'll be live when I go on my different shows. And on those shows, here's the deal. Like these have only ever been. Last Blood is a series detailing the end of Extreme, the end of the Extreme universe. Now, this is the manga edition. Okay, this is the manga edition. We give it gray screens and all manner of different applications. So now I should say also we bloody it up quite a bit. We get down and we get pretty bloody with this stuff. As this page will attest. As this page. Okay, so now here's the non-manga version. This was the first version, but I've got a couple of about 3 of these issues are out now. With there's Old Man Battlestone, there's Bloodstrike. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that I share with you on Whatnot. But while I was looking for my Whatnot stuff, I cannot believe uh, that I came across my Spire comics, my legitimate Spire comics. We talked about that in an early episode on this YouTube show. The Spire Comics, Archie's Parables. I forgot about this one. This is great. I mean, this was now Joy and I, my wife and I did not know each other until she was 16 and I was 18 years old. And but she's like, Rob, I read all these too. Our church had these. I had these. Archie's Parables. There's the copy. I had Archie's One Way. I showed it to you guys digitally. Okay, here's my beat to hell, water damaged copy. Only time can tell, right? I mean, Noah's Ark. Okay, the thing that I love about these the most, uh, and the brothers. I mentioned the brothers. This is like their action adventure title. It's really put an adventure title with the brothers. Now, Al Hartley is the guy, and in the back of these, they always tell the story of Al Hartley and his mission to bring these comics to you. And I always thought this gave me more about any cartoonist than I was getting from Marvel or DC, but Spire was his company. So there's Al. He's at the drawing board. As a kid, it was important to see somebody draw. Oh, so they draw him at the board. I mean, you look at the tools, you look at the setup. You kind of want to emulate it when you're trying to break into comic books. So I don't care. Like I said, if they were Marvel, they were DC. A comic book was a comic book, and I was always checking out comic books. So here's the deal. Once again, wrapping a bow on our anniversary. We made it to video. We made it. Thank you, people who said, Rob, get your ass on YouTube. And here I am in front of the camera. Not terribly quite comfortable yet, but getting better every episode, I hope. So we will continue to get at it. Also, one thing I should mention now, this many, you made us the number one. I didn't even know this until someone else told me. We have been the number one comic book podcast for 5 years. We win like 50 out of 52 weeks. And if you win 50 out of 50, you are the number one. As I came on, we are the highest rated rankings. This is by listening, by rankings, by viewers, listeners. And I thank you for that. It's not something I set out to do, but it is a space that we have really shined on. And now as we venture into this YouTube, I hope you guys follow us to this video presentation. One of you just said as plain as possible, because my wife, she reads some of these too. She said, did you see this? And she's like, I mean, this is just the mindset. It wraps it right up. Rob, I'm not a podcast guy. I need visuals. I'm so glad that you finally made it to YouTube. That's it. He says he needs visuals. Well, here we are. We're in a visual component, and we are so happy to continue to keep on keeping on. And just thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. Thank you for giving us positive reviews and feedback. And we are all about it. And I am just so grateful. Today's big overarching topic is death in comic books. Now, I'm revisiting a topic, but with a fresh perspective, with some actual, I believe, some telltale signs, some indicators that were there years ago that are still there, that is unfortunate, actually. But death in comic books was something that came early to me and impacted me deeply. And some of the most important, and I should just say now, if you have not read the original fate of Elektra and the original fate of Gwen Stacy and the original fate of Jean Grey / Phoenix, you should probably hop off now. I don't want to spoil things for you, okay? So we're going to give you a minute because this is the first of 2 spoiler warnings. I'm going to get to a spoiler warning in regards to a TV show in a minute. But growing up, I fell in love with many of these characters. Also, Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. I fell in love with so many of these characters only to find that they would, have these abrupt fates. And I was very honest, and it is easy to recall that the first character I mourned was one Elektra Nachos, okay? She was introduced in Frank Miller's first inaugural issue as writer and penciler. He'd already been penciling Deadpool. He had already been penciling Daredevil, but he came on board now in his full mode. Is it 181? Is it 162? Okay, this is going to bother me. I got to get this right. Come on. You can't come on and just do this as a guess. Okay, so magic of internet. Take me there. Take me there. Elektra. Elektra first. It's boom. All right, guys. 168. Daredevil 168 is Elektra's first appearance. And it introduced her as a college sweetheart, a former sweetheart of one Matt Murdock. It introduced that her father was a wealthy businessman, maybe with his influence into other realms. She had a giant bodyguard that accompanied her. I haven't looked at this book in years. I can just remember all the panels in my head. And in a matter of time, during the issue and these flashbacks, you find out that the new assailant that Daredevil is faced with is his former college lover. She is now a ruthless assassin that is as threatening and as much of a concern to Daredevil as any foe he has ever faced. And it's just grabbed you by the short hairs, this issue. And we, as a comic community, fell in love with Elektra. And she, after being introduced, she became the focal point for the next year and a half's worth of stories, almost 2 years worth of stories. Through her, we were introduced to Daredevil's connection with a man named Stick. It built out his origin. It expanded who's the man that trained Daredevil once he lost his senses, once he lost his sight through the canister hitting him, the radioactive materials, and, who was it that actually taught him to hone his senses and become the man that he was going to become? We were introduced to the terrors of the Hand. There was an all new threat with the Yakuza that was invading, Hell's Kitchen, New York City, disrupting also the Kingpin's operations. The Kingpin became a Daredevil character, completely pulled away from the Spider-Man universe and became this deadly, most foreboding, and his most foreboding portrayal was in the pages of Daredevil with Frank Miller. And you know what? I hung on every release. At first, the book was bi-monthly, but Frank's popularity and the book's popularity soared, so it started coming out every 30 days. So suddenly, I was able to then just hang on every 30 days instead of every 60 days. But the romance, the mystery, the intrigue, Elektra would team up with Daredevil to battle other menaces like Gladiator, other foes that he had. Sometimes she would be against him. Other times she would be with him, alongside him. But it all culminated in this giant Daredevil 181 that nobody saw coming. I didn't see it coming. That Saturday afternoon, I knew all the consequences of the comic were coming together. A character named Ben Urich was introduced in Daredevil, and he was this reporter that was kind of tracking down some of these stories. His life is threatened. He is part of this Yakuza, this gang war, this all of this stuff that's going on. The violence is ramping up. The mature themes are ramping up, and Matt Murdock's concern for what's going on in his life and all things Elektra were ramping out. But she really became a co-star of the book, and this was during the period that I was starting to go to comic conventions, whether it was the creation conventions held in the Disneyland Hotel here in Anaheim, or other LA conventions that I would bum a ride to go up on a Sunday and hang out. Daredevil and Elektra were the characters that everyone was talking about. I'm going to tell you that during this period, Elektra achieved like Wolverine status. She may have been the most popular character published by Marvel, period. And I think that's reflected in the fact that Daredevil went to the #1 spot. Daredevil leapfrogged over X-Men, which had become Marvel's #1 comic, and had leapfrogged. And over at DC Comics, the #1 book was Teen Titans, and George Perez would give interviews saying, man, I was the #1 comic book for like a month until Daredevil came along, because we were outselling X-Men, and then Frank jumped both of us. This is, again, part of recorded history, and the rankings will bear this out. Daredevil becomes, under Frank Miller, the #1 comic book in the comic book industry. And it's got everyone talking. Everyone is completely wired into this particular brand of soap opera. Well, on Saturdays I couldn't drive, and now I'm a little more committed with high school and other stuff going on. So if I can convince one of my parents to give me a ride, I can't drive yet. And in 1981, I'm 13 years old. I'm not going to be 14 uh, until 1982. So I bum a ride with my mom. She's going to the mall. I said, "Hey, can you take me to the comic store?" And she's like, "You know what? I'll do that for you." She parked out behind the comic store. I ran in. The comic book store was called Latos Brothers. It hadn't turned into Adventureland yet. And I went in and there was a Marvel 2-in-1. I believe it had Sasquatch in it. I remember this very distinctly. Ron Wilson, Chick Stone, uh, and I saw Daredevil. I saw it was there, double sized. Wow! Grabbed it. Was not going to engage until my mom got to the mall. I was just so excited. Double sized issue, Daredevil, Bullseye, Elektra in the backdrop. And what happened is my mom goes to the Buena Park Mall and she says, "I'm going to go in and do some shopping. Do you want to stay here? Do you come in?" I said, "Mom, I'm just going to stay out here." And I've detailed this, 5 years ago when I originally kind of touched on this. And I flipped through the book. I read it as I was sitting in the back seat with my comic books, and this was grabbing every ounce of my attention. And one more time for spoilers, okay? If you don't want to know how this turns out, please turn it off. Go find this run, read it on your own, experience it on your own. Uh, so we get to the point where Bullseye has broken out, and he is going to exact an amount of vengeance and pain on Matt Murdock and Daredevil, and he engages in a one-on-one hand-to-hand combat with Elektra, and they have this awesome, incredible battle. And at one point, it looks like she has the upper hand, and Frank has gone out of his way to show us how absolutely ruthless, deadly, cunning, and effective Bullseye is. The best Bullseye has ever been is, again, under the pen and pencil of Frank Miller. Well, he skewers Elektra. He kills her. He impales her, and she crawls back. She crawls to the brownstone, trying to reach Matt Murdock, bleeding out, and dies on the steps. And I'm like, wait a second. The impact was, this is the most popular character in comics. She has eclipsed the popularity of the lead character in this comic. And it was a combination of, how dare they? How could they? What is this? Elektra is dead. Daredevil, realizing that she is dead, takes off to find Bullseye and kill him. And I'll let you read the remainder of this story to see how that tense standoff turns out, in the off chance that while I was doing this, you decided, hey, maybe I should check that out. But it is a gut-wrenching, emotional story that Frank takes us on. And as I said, it is the first time that I cried. I think I cried because I love the character. I cried because the impact of the story and Frank's writing. I cried because I was like confused, and I don't mean bald. I just had a well of tears. It wasn't like a boo. It was like I can't believe I'm crying. I can't believe I'm crying over this character that I love so much. I can't believe that I am shedding a tear. It came out of nowhere. Nobody saw it coming. And this is where I believe we have gone way astray. Today, I believe that based on the marketing in the last 30 years, they would have signaled. They're already telling you this summer that, I think, are they telling you that Thor is dying, that Silver Surfer is dying? They are advertising deaths. You have no idea how rich it is to not see something coming. And this is a period where there are no preview catalogs. There's nothing online. The internet does not exist. We are not able to access jack or shit online, okay? The advanced previews, the catalogs, they are not there to tip you off, to give you a sliver of what's coming. This was completely and 1,000% just like a kick in the pants, a kick in the gut. It was surprising in every possible way. The element of surprise, the unknown, the impact of what is going on here. I had no idea what I was flipping through. This would follow 1 year earlier, where Jean Grey had passed. Jean Grey had died. And that, I was sad for the characters in the book, but it wasn't something that jarred me like Elektra. Jean Grey had never been my favorite character in the X-Men. Elektra was my favorite character during this period at Marvel Comics. I'm telling you, like, she was edging Wolverine. She was that cool. She was that well drawn, illustrated, presented. She's dead. She's dead. And I was just shocked. Jean Grey moved me. Wow. Death of Captain Marvel, it's on the cover. You're like, how's Captain Marvel going to die? Well, Captain Marvel dies via cancer. So that was the twist. They let you know that Captain Marvel in that storyline, you thought, was this going to be some dramatic cosmic death? No, he's going to die from cancer. I paused. So the whole cancer thing is like the twist of that particular book. So maybe that's what they've got going on, but they're making giant events now. Death of. Elektra hit differently. It was not in any way, shape, or form. It's the same impact I believe he was trying to muster from when Gwen Stacy died at the hands of Green Goblin in Spider-Man. And that is seen as the beginning of the Bronze Age. We are leaving the Silver Age, and the Silver Age kind of, understandings and underpinnings, and we have matured. Well, Frank made it a little more. I'm not sure falling to your death is less grisly than being impaled, but both register as vicious and nasty. And here's the deal. We segueing to something that's going on in television, and I haven't felt like this shock, and your body goes into a bit of a panic when a character that you love is about to meet a demise you did not see coming. And so when this happened recently in season 2 of Last of Us, which I believe is the second episode, where more power to them. Joy and I do not play video games. We do not interact with Last of Us in any way other than the show. I know that there's it's a massive hit game. My kids were all gamers. That is not a game that they engaged in. Clearly it has a story. It has a lore that has drawn so many rabid fans into it. Well, this wasn't that for us. We watched Last of Us season 1. We were taken from the jump. We were taken by the characters. We were taken by the lavish production, the special effects. I mean, it is a plus show. The production values, the acting, the writing, it's just really, I would hang magnificent on Last of Us. So we watched the first episode of season 2, and of course, 1 week later, we are sitting down. We watch it the night that it comes out. We don't always get it at the drop time, which is 6 p.m. Pacific here, but by 9 p.m. we have watched it. We don't want to wait too long. I don't want to be spoiled by the internet, so I'll stay off if I can't get to it till 9. But generally by 9 Pacific, so 12 Eastern, Joy and I are sitting in front of the latest episode of Last of Us. And so once again, spoilers, if you want to leave, if you're watching Last of Us, if you don't want to engage in what comes further, I'm going to give you this time. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's your 5 seconds to get out of here. Get out of here. In Last of Us, season 2, episode 2, with that incredible Battle of Jackson Hole, and then the, is it Abby that they take back? Is that her name? That Joel and Ellie take back to the lodge where it's trapped waiting for him. And you kind of wonder, is Abby going to be this vicious given that Joel saved her life from a massive swarm of the infected? Well, sure enough, it is going to go down ugly. And I had no idea. And in my head, this is episode 2 of season 2. They can't possibly, that they are not going to kill Joel. Newsflash. As I got uncomfortable and I lunged forward and I turned to my wife, I said, they're killing him. He's about to die. Holy shit, what is going? That element of uncertainty, that I guess I was just fortunate that I had not encountered in any way the fandom or I had not encountered any of the trappings of the story, any of the details. This was totally, completely out of the blue for Joy and I, and for anybody who, like us, only watches Last of Us, didn't get any advance notice, and they kill Pedro Pascal's character Joel. For us, the star of the show. Now, I love the show. I love everything about the show. So I hasten to say he's the reason we watch, but he's a big reason we tuned in the first place. He dies in as brutal a manner as one can possibly imagine, more so than Elektra is even killed, and the juxtaposition of such a young girl beating the life out of him while Ellie watches. It's brutal, and boy, did it engage me. I was now like, what is going on? What? Those same emotions that I had when Elektra died, which I didn't see coming because there was no advance notice. They didn't spoil it in a big advertising campaign. They didn't put it in Previews magazine. They didn't issue preview copies that retailers can read, that they're going to leak out, that they're going to spoil the details of. None of that happened. 181 landed with my kids my age, completely out of the blue, shock to the system. Some may have teared up like I did. Some may have gotten angry. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't wait to get to the next issue. And of course, they bury her. Now, I'm not going to go deeper into the Elektra saga, but Frank had much more planned. I was on through the entirety of his first run, and then when he comes back with Mazzucchelli. So yes, of course, I'm aware of what goes on with Elektra, and I thought it was quite brilliant. But in that moment, for that year, it was uncomfortable. It was frustrating. It was sad. And it showed me the power of graphic arts and the graphic storytelling and the impact that it can have on us. And it certainly had on me. And when Joel gets murdered on Last of Us in episode 2 of season 2, my pulse was racing, that same uncomfortability, that uncertainty, and I may have yelled. I think I just told you that I said, Joy, they're killing him. It may have come out like, Joy, they're killing him. Like, or even louder. I was in a bit of a, like, I was worked up. That is the beauty of when these things happen. These characters we love, these performances, whether it's on the page or through the screen, we fall in love with these characters, and the impact can be severe. I'm just going to go with severe. And I'd grade the death of Jean Grey as a 7, Elektra a 10, Joel on Last of Us 10. Death in comic books can unsettle you to the point that you will sit up a little straighter and consider who else is not safe. That lack of safety, that uncertainty, certainly engulfed the Daredevil comic. There's another show that we are winding up. We have been committed to it for the last 6-7 years, however many seasons, although it feels like it's taken 10 years to do these 6 or 7 seasons. But we are wrapping up, awaiting the last final episode of The Handmaid's Tale, which I have enjoyed from its inception. I think that show in its first 2 seasons achieved an artistic high accomplishment. Again, a show that is lavishly produced, impeccably acted and executed. It's just great. But in the later seasons, 3, 4, 5, I felt like it was meandering, and I'm going to tell you what it didn't have that I really thought there would be more of in this closing season was death. Some of these characters, they just get away with everything. They're never, clearly nothing can kill them. And this isn't like a franchise that hinges on just one character, like a Mission Impossible. Like a situation where you go, he is the lead character. There is no way Ethan Hunt is going to die no matter what. I don't believe it. In the world of The Handmaid's Tale, there's 7 to 8 characters that I feel like at least 3 or 4 of them should have died seasons ago, and it would have engaged me even further because the circumstances of the story and the consequences are there. I mean, they routinely kill people and punish people, put them on the wall, as they say in The Handmaid's Tale. And the fact that it's going to close out, it's going to go to its last season, which I feel like it's going to be a little like showing us how everything, I hope it shows us how the government of Gilead and the world changed due to this giant rebellion, which was fun to watch, but again, low on consequences. In the last season of 6 Feet Under, they robbed us early on again of a lead character, and it was unsettling. It's a show about people who run a funeral home, and it deals with death, and someone died every episode. Normally, the beginning of every 6 Feet Under was someone whose body was going to be on the way to the funeral home. Then a lead character died unexpectedly. Also, the last season of Succession, a huge, impactful character, maybe suddenly dies. That kind of stuff. When it works, boy, does it work. And kudos to everyone who was able to keep the Succession death, the 6 Feet Under death, the Last of Us deaths under wraps. And kudos to when death works in comics and it unsettles us. I don't believe you can, like, it's not going to work for me in an Ultimate Universe or in another version. I believe the realist, purest forms of these characters are in their original inceptions, their original runs. Marvel, DC. As much as I have enjoyed Ultimate comic books and some absolute comic books, I want to see the consequences of these characters in the original inceptions, the original titles. And I don't want it advertised. I don't want to, have my anticipations built up that this death is imminent or coming. Captain Marvel, the twist was that he died from cancer, and it was sad. This guy who had taken on Thanos and battled cosmic menaces was now taken by a disease within that he could not stop, and it killed him. Kudos to Jim Starlin. He took the trope and he turned it on its head. Kudos to Frank Miller, a fastball no one saw coming. It literally was crippling for us who were caught up in the drama. Big surprises, big reveals. Death is always going to be a part of that. You can do other stuff, other different relations, but there was a recent event of a character. I'm not going to pick on the character. I've picked on these characters enough. Where they're like, grab this anniversary issue for the biggest reveal ever in this character's history. I didn't feel it was a big reveal at all. Again, watch those expectations. Watch those expectations. If you heighten them, they can come crashing down on you in a way that you did not expect because people won't be satisfied. It is really the time to turn back the clock, to go towards more mystery, more of the unknown. Don't be so desperate to sell books that you have to give the whole thing away in order for the retailers. Let them scramble. Be prepared to go back to press. Be confident in the story that you're going to put out there and the impact that it's going to have. This was a giant flex by Frank Miller. Massive. It's pages from that book go for buku bucks. That book is discussed. Some of my friends in the business are Hollywood producers, television they produce television, they produce film. When we get down to that 1980 period of Death of Jean Grey to Death of Elektra, we are just all wired in on the same emotional level of how it affected us as kids. And as much as it may have been a shock to find out that Luke Skywalker is the son of Darth Vader, it wasn't a death. That is a revelation, a great one. And kudos to Andor also, that ended in the last minute with a great twist that I did not see coming. Maybe some of you did. I didn't see it. Death is kind of the topic here, but surprises in comics could have been the subject matter as well. When it's done well, it can really refocus the entire attention of the readership and draw them in a way that maybe they were taken for granted before. So hats off to all of the brilliant storytellers who make this stuff happen, to the Frank Millers, the Jim Starlins, the Chris Claremonts, the John Burns, the producers of The Last of Us, of 6 Feet Under, of all of the great shows that have really did it. They gave me some deaths I wasn't expecting. It really is fun to look back on this stuff and see just how it shaped my view of the material and my expectations going forward. So death in comics, it's a whopper. It can really, I think, in the case of Daredevil, it kept the lights on. Maybe Frank knew that we were going to get tired with that situation, and he decided he would electrify us, which would make us only more intent on tuning in for the next chapter. And it did. It worked. So, as we wrap up today's show, I wanted to give a plug to something I have no involvement in. I'm just a huge fan, and that is Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. I saw it, and I loved it. And you know what? Talking about expectations and setting the bar low, all of the blogosphere, some of the critics out there told me that there was no action. They told me the minutes between the action, and they were absolutely full of shit, lying, like literally deceiving. Like there is one person called it an early jailbreak scene. Okay, yeah, there is. Then that's followed by a scene where characters are held hostage and have to fight their way out, which then leads to another exciting moment, which then leads to more drama, more setup. People told me, oh, it's all talking heads and exposition. How about some of us who love talking heads and terse exposition? The big stunts are the big stunts. They're fantastic. They're amazing. They may be my favorite in the series. The movie is so incredibly lavish, and the money is on the screen. Chris McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, I feel like they're such an incredible tandem. Chris knows how to capture some of these incredible moments, exactly where to put the camera, where to move it, the editing, the sound. Mission Impossible, the theme song, and the entire kind of soundtrack of the film, the music, when it drops out as it does for almost 10 minutes in a very tense scene, it all works. The sound design of the film is fantastic. I loved it, but people told me, well, you're going to be I was told how disappointed I was going to be, how little action there was. I didn't think there was little action. There was way more action. There is a what you understand as the submarine scenes. Takes up the submarine takes almost an hour total. But there's stuff going on elsewhere with the other characters, and the action just explodes simultaneously, cutting back and forth. No spoilers here. I have given you no spoilers. I will give you no spoilers. I was entertained. You know, when I went, I bought a ticket. I went to the movie to be entertained. Tom Cruise always knows how to entertain me. But then I have to click on it. Oh, where I'm gonna rank it. And so many people have this lowest, one of, if not the lowest, which is ridiculous. I'm telling you. I walked out, and my wife and my friends, we were like, what was going on with everyone trying to tell us how disappointed we were going to be? The movie has an A minus. It's in the A category. It is entertaining. It is doing well, better than it is having the best Friday of any Mission Impossible. So I think the audience in this case, and I heard one podcaster saying, I was surprised. I saw it with a paying audience. I saw it second time, and they were hooting and hollering and reacting in places that we weren't as critics. Maybe take a break. Maybe it's time to tap out. Here's my thing. Am I entertained? It's like Maximus. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained how I just killed all those people in the arena via Gladiator? Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, everybody else, all of the participants, all the great performers and technicians, everybody came together to make such an entertaining film. But I was told to go in here. I didn't go in here. I said, bullshit, I'm going in here. And you know what? The movie met me here. I loved it. These Mission Impossible movies are incredible. They really leaned into what was going on in the Daniel Craig and Matt Damon, Jason Bourne, and James Bond space, and pivoted right at a crucial point, and they became some of the best spy movies. Yes, there's gimmies. Every movie has a gimme. Marvel movies have multiple gimmies. I think there's less gimmies in this Mission Impossible than there are in Top Gun Maverick, which I give 100 stars to, okay? No, I'm not easy to please. I'm not easy to please. It takes a lot to get me off my ass, off of my couch. And here's the other thing. I was reading today, inflation. Hey, does your inflation for how a Mission Impossible for 7 years ago performed versus inflation? Does that also count against all the streaming platforms that came to life in 2019 when Disney Plus launched, when Apple TV launched, and between just those two platforms? And obviously Max. Okay, those three platforms, which all came out and added to the streaming existence of like Hulu and Netflix. I don't get Peacock. I can't speak to Peacock. Apple, Disney Plus, and Max gave us hundreds of millions of dollars of incredible entertainment, lavish production that I can see and never leave my house, with top flight performers, decorated, celebrated, award-winning actors' performances. It takes a lot to get me to the theater. I paid top dollar. I think we paid the $30 IMAX charge for both Joy and I. So for $60, we went out. Did I feel like they let me down? No. I had money and production values and all across the screen. Great camera work, performances, stunts. Great time at the movies. Highly recommended. Just wanted to fit that in there. Hey, when I'm not doing this video podcast thing with you guys, I am all over social media. Please find me over on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. I am at Robert Liefeld, RobertLiefeld. What is it? Let me spell it again. RobertLiefeld. Got my own name mixed up, okay? That's a first. With a blue check mark. That's really me. I am the legitimate article. I am, you are speaking to me. That's my account. Nobody else runs that account. That's me. If I'm answering you, if we're interacting, I read your replies, your mentions, your DMs. Thank you for communicating with me, for connecting with me. I just love the connectivity that these social media platforms offer us, and I love hanging out with you, and I love checking in with you over on X, formerly known as Twitter. We still call them tweets, right? At Robert Liefeld. One more time, RobertLiefeld, blue check. That's really me. On Instagram, I'm Rob Liefeld, RobertLiefeld. Blue check. We gave this show, the Rob Liefeld Show, we gave that its own account now, okay? We're trying to go big time. After 5 years, it's time to grow up. They may be kicking me out of the house. I may have to go find my own spot. I'm maturing as a show, as as a performer. Just kidding. So on Instagram at Rob Liefeld and the Rob Liefeld Show both have Instagram accounts. Again, I read your replies, your mentions, your comments, and your DMs. I try and keep up with each and every one of you. As summer comes, you're going to see where I'm going, who I'm hanging out with, the work, the previews of the pages of the comics that I have coming. And I have plenty of comics coming your way, plenty of new stuff, plenty of promotions. The convention season, San Diego Comic-Con, I will be there. It is one of the few cons that I attend religiously my entire life. And I am so excited to connect with you on Instagram via that visual platform. My family, my friends, I showcase all of it. It's my visual diary, maybe a little bit about throwing up, visual vomit that I put. Maybe it's too much. My kids tell me it's too much. What am I going to do, right? I am who I am, and that's all that I be. So Instagram at Rob Liefeld. I'll look for you over there. We have a group on Facebook, Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond. Myself and Terry Sala, S-A-L-A, we will be the administrators, the people who run the page, the group. It's not a page, it's a group. We will click you through. We would love for you to hang out there with us. We keep it up with people, positive on comic books. We are honest in our assessment of certain comics, but we won't get into troll flame wars, none of that. That's not allowed. If you want to start stuff, we just show you the door. It's a cool group. It's a fun group. There's great artists. There's art contests. There's all manner of discussion going on. We post a dedicated thread for each and every one of these episodes. So you can go there, you can talk further, and you can interact about any particular episode. And Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond is the Facebook group. It's a group, so look it up. We will look for you. We will click you on through. Rob Liefeld, Marvel Extreme and Beyond is our Facebook group. I already mentioned Whatnot. You should get on there. You should follow me, Rob Liefeld. You will be alerted when I go live. I'm like this now the show really is like Whatnot, because on Whatnot I am talking into a video, into a screen. I am sharing with you my exclusive. I already showed you some of those, but like on Whatnot is the only place you're going to get my 30th anniversary Rob Liefeld Prophet certificate that we gave out with our 30th anniversary Rob Prophet paraphernalia. We have comic books from the past, present day, tons of exclusives, hundreds of Daredevil. Now I'm calling. I call Deadpool Daredevil. Now I'm calling Deadpool. I call Daredevil Deadpool. Now I'm calling Deadpool Daredevil. We have tons of Deadpool exclusives. variants that I've done that I only share with you guys online. Also, Spider-Man, Captain America, Cable, X-Force, Youngblood, Prophet, Evangeline. So much product that is made just for the live stream shows that you can only obtain through me by following me, by being part of our show. I do all manner of different signatures. I have been at the forefront. You can get your Rob Liefeld pin, your metal pin. Hey, check those out. I just had this standing by, but those are part of the show. All manner of merchandise, comics, exclusives, full comics. Youngblood right now has been exclusive to live streaming other than a personal appearance, like a store appearance like Golden Apple, or my upcoming store appearance that I'm going to get to in a minute. But so much to find and explore and discover in original material on my Whatnot shows. I hope you follow me, Rob Liefeld, and I will see you on one of our live streams. I am going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona at Fantastic Worlds Comics. Bill Poncetti owns the store. He's a great guy. He's having me there on May 31st, Saturday, May 31st. I'll be there for several hours. We've got me booked for at least 4 hours. I would love to see you. I will have an exclusive Youngblood comic made only for that appearance. And we're going to cut the orders off right before because we have to go to press. We have to know the exact amount that we're going to have. And other than that, there's not going to be any. I will have my personal allotment that I will probably share on an upcoming live stream. But other than that, that's a percentage. This will be the lowest as of this moment, the lowest print run of any of the Youngblood comics, which is fun. It makes it more exclusive and more personal and more special to this specific and particular signing. So I'd love to see you there at Fantastic Worlds in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's the first time I've been to Arizona in 4 years, and this will be the only Arizona appearance I have in the next year. So please check me out. I'd love to see you there. You have to go to robliefeldcreations.com. Key piece of info here. robliefeldcreations.com is where you will find the link to go and get the Fantastic Worlds Youngblood exclusive edition. You have to order it there. I'll have it waiting for you and sign it in front of you. We did this with Golden Apple. It went off without a hitch. We got thousands of copies to the people at the Golden Apple who waited for 6 hours. I signed for 6 hours at Golden Apple. It was so exciting. I couldn't believe that Youngblood had generated so much excitement with you guys. You guys are so good to me. I just thank you so much for giving me this incredible career. See you at Fantastic Worlds, May 31st, Saturday. Hope you can make it. That'll be so much fun. I'm pretty much out of plugs and telling you where you can find me when I'm not doing this. But thank you so much for listening. And your reviews, right? I got to get to those. You guys have been leaving me. We've done Spotify video now, right? We have done Spotify video, okay? And so over on Spotify, you guys are leaving your comments, and it's such a blast. You guys left some really fun comments for me, and Gary said, "I don't mind knockoffs." This was about our Marvel DC swipe file. Gary left just a day ago. "I don't mind knockoffs as long as they're done well and give credit to the source." Jaguar 7676 reads, "I would have loved growing up with you as we are the same age and have the same interests. This podcast takes me back to those wonder years. It's nostalgia in overdrive." Gibriel, that was from Jaguar 7676. Gibriel says, "Oh, heck yeah. More swipe files. Learning a lot about those hidden gems. I hope you don't mind, Rob. I've swiped a couple of your poses from some of your work. Ha ha ha. Got to keep the spirit alive." Thank you, Gibriel. Tim writes, "When are you going to do an episode about X-Men being an echo of the Doom Patrol?" We'll get to that, although those came out in the same month. It's a great mystery that we will, in fact, investigate. I'm going to be reading your YouTube comments. Those you guys are so... YouTube has become this incredible platform that I did not know I needed so badly, even though I have to shower and I have to be presentable when I speak to you, which is not like the old days that the lights are off, the blinds are closed. I'm practically speaking to you in the darkness into the mic now. Lights on, camera on, here we go. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you for the comments that you leave. I will read them from each and every show. Hey, we are right square into the summer. Memorial Day weekend has just happened. The summer is here. And you guys, I just hope for you all the best. Your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, and your physical well-being. I hope they're exactly where you want them to be, where you're comfortable, where you are at your most optimal. Get off the grind, get off that treadmill. Do not let it beat you down and take the last ounce of your energy and of your enthusiasm. Make time for yourself. Step away. Grab a great comic book. Read it. A graphic novel. Go watch that streaming show. Get out. Go to the cinema. There's so many fun movies. See Sinners. See Mission Impossible. See Lilo and Stitch. Okay? I'm excited about Jurassic World, about Superman. There's so much stuff. F1. I'm excited about all these great movies coming out. I'm excited about the How to Train Your Dragon live action. That looks amazing. Have a great meal with your friends. This morning, I went, and I talk about it all the time. I was at breakfast with my 4 high school buddies from 1984, 85. Okay. So I was taking it back 40 years ago. Okay. Right before I broke into comics, and we were meeting and talking about our family, our friends, over a great breakfast at this incredible diner. And it's, a couple of you have told me, Rob, I didn't want to go someplace, but I did that because I remember you talking about it. It is so great. Get out and get ice cream. Go get a dessert. Go make that time. Go to your friend's house. Go swimming with their family. Have a barbecue. Whatever it is, guys, get out. Take life and take advantage of the life, of the sun, of the weather, of whatever is out there. Go to the lake. Go to the beach. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but just getting up and moving and changing your surroundings will change your perspective, will give you a renewed energy, and will kind of get you ready for back. I do the grind too, man. I grind, I draw, I take a blank page and I fill it, go from top left to bottom right, and I fill it up, I scan it, I send it to my colorist. It comes back. I mean, I have to write it. Then I'm working with all of the production departments on the printing of my book. I'm working with the great letterers, all the people. This is it takes a lot out of you. I'm working as hard as I possibly can. I love it, but I have to renew all the time. Okay. And when I say renew, I think of Logan's Run, but we're not going to go there right now. Bottom line, take care of yourself. Get that Reese's Big Cup like I did an hour ago. Digest it before this show. And to the guy that sent me the notification, and I really do, I'm not mocking, I appreciate you. You're like, Rob, I know your diet and that you are obsessed with Reese's Big Cup. Rob, he showed me all of the aspects of the Reese's Big Cup that cause cancer. And I appreciate you. But I'm going to die somehow and in some way. And it may be my time up by the end of this show, but by the end of the night, I'm going to keep eating those peanut butter cups. But man, the thought and the presentation and sharing that to me did not go unappreciated. I thank you so much for sharing how dangerous it is, what I am partaking in. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. Do not leave me here. Come back, get me. I'll be right there, out there. Pick me up. I'll jump in the car. We'll take the ride together. We will most definitely, absolutely, and drum roll, inevitably, we will talk again real soon.